Earlier today, I tweeted this out. Quote this tweet with your NFL hot takes. So we're going to take a look at the best and probably the worst hot takes this season. Starting out with BK plays. Dak would be the undisputed MVP so far this year if his defense was even average. Are we talking about the same Dak Prescott? I wanted to look up the stats on this. 2025 regular season stats. Dak has 2,000 yards passing, which is third in the league. He's tied for third in touchdowns, tied for 56th in interceptions, so obviously not great there. He has the #1 QBR in the NFL. Let's compare that to Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is the undisputed frontrunner for MVP right now. 2,099 yards, 17 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 76.3 QBR. Dude, I hate to admit this, but comparing these two statistically head-to-head, it's really close. It is kind of crazy when you look at these stats to know that Mahomes is the undisputed MVP and Dak isn't even in the conversation. Like, nobody has Dak even really in the top 10 for MVP right now. I will say, though, there's a bit of a volume metric going on here. Dak Prescott's defense is horrible. Dallas Cowboys defense is so bad, which also means that the Cowboys are usually losing and they have to score all the time to get into the game. So Dak Prescott is constantly throwing the football, constantly trying to score. Patrick Mahomes, on the other hand, I mean, even just recently against the Washington Commanders, Mahomes didn't even have to throw the ball in the fourth quarter at all. He was basically just a handoff simulator because they were winning and they're trying to chew the clock. So I do think having a bad defense does benefit Dak because he gets to throw the ball way more than most quarterbacks. At the same time, though, you do need to win football games to be the MVP. Our next up, from LOL Giants fan, is Jackson Dart will be a top 10 quarterback of all time. As much as I love Jackson Dart, this is a gigantic reach, but there's one thing that's true in football, and that's that Giants fans may continue to be the most delusional fans in all of football. Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos are about to go on such a heater that Denver gets the #1 seed in the AFC, and Bo Nix plays himself into a top 3 finish in MVP voting. Now, I don't even think this is too far-fetched. The Denver Broncos are 6-2 as I'm recording this. The only team in front of them in the entire AFC is the Indianapolis Colts. They're tied with the Patriots at 6-2. Winning the entire AFC is going to be tough, and the AFC West is a difficult division because of the Chiefs and Chargers, not so much the Raiders. If the Denver Broncos do get #1 seed in the AFC, it's almost guaranteed that Bo Nix will get a top 3 finish because, like we just talked about with Dak, because a huge portion of the MVP vote is if your team is good or not. You can put up the best stats in the world, but if your team doesn't make the playoffs, you just don't win MVP. There are very rare scenarios where that occurs. And taking a look at the Broncos' schedule, it's interesting. I feel like the Raiders suck. The Jaguars are okay, but you've got to play Kansas City twice. You've got to play the Packers, and you've got to play the Chargers. I won't call this the hottest of hot takes, but this would be difficult. Gentlemen, football is here, and the best place to get tickets is the sponsor of today's video, SeatGeek. I've worked with SeatGeek for longer than probably any company, and every time I go to a game, an event, a festival, anything, I use SeatGeek to get my tickets. They put tickets from all across the web into one place, the SeatGeek app, to make buying simple. Each ticket is rated on a scale 1 to 10, so look for the green dots. Those are the better value tickets. I love the app. It's a seamless experience, and there's a reason I work with SeatGeek for almost 10 years now. Also, I can get you $20 off with my code MMG. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code MMG. So download the SeatGeek app today and enjoy the rest of the video. Now, this is a really interesting one. All referees, except for one, should be removed from the field. One remains to announce calls to the crowd and spot the ball. All flags, reviews, and challenges are done by the booth. All ball spots are tracked by electronic tracker in the ball. Speeds the game up, removes ref error. Wow. I actually hear this same hot take all the time in baseball, where people basically say, look, a robot can tell me if this is a strike or a ball. So why am I letting an umpire call this a strike or a ball when it's so obviously not? It does make you think, why don't they just automate this? And then when I'm watching an NFL game and I'm watching the Kansas City Chiefs get away with 100 of the most egregious holding calls you've ever seen, all I can think is like, what are the refs looking at? What are they seeing? How are they not seeing this blatant hold? I do think the big issue with this is all NFL fans, myself included, are not willing to admit that there is a penalty on every single down of NFL football. And if we allow the booth to make every single call, then we would have to change the rules of NFL football. I truly believe this. If you just watch any snap of any play in the NFL, there is holding, defensive pass interference, offensive pass interference, false start, offsides, encroachment, neutral zone infraction, you name it, there is a penalty on every single play because it's moving so fast, it's so physical, and it is always occurring. So to let the booth call this, to let people like laser in focus, look at the cameras and review, you'd almost have to change the rules of the entire sport. We got a big one here from Dubby. Everyone hates Jalen Hurts because he does what their quarterback can't. Now, I really wasn't going to go through the comments on these, but this one's good. Dubby, this isn't a hot take. It's just a terrible take. This guy said, like what? Getting pushed in the ass for a yard? Just curious, what exactly does he do without mentioning that Super Bowl? Okay, what exactly does Jalen Hurts do except for mentioning the greatest possible achievement in the sport? What do you mean removing the Super Bowl? It's a huge part of the entire argument for obvious reasons. This is a pretty awesome hot take because it is truly a hot take. This is gonna piss a lot of people off. Now let's go to the stat sheet to look at Jalen Hurts. The thing about Jalen Hurts is he has all the benefits that Dak Prescott does not. So it's very difficult to evaluate these stats. He's got 1,700 passing yards, 15 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Is honestly really incredible. That's a better touchdown-interception ratio than any quarterback in the league right now, I believe, and a 67 QBR. Now, Jalen Hurts, in the games where he throws the football well, I think he's probably the best quarterback in the league. When he throws the football well, he's so unbelievably good. But then he has those dud games where the joke about Jalen Hurts comes from, where he can't throw the football deep. And that was a couple games this season. Against the Minnesota Vikings, for example, Jalen Hurts throws 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, a literal perfect 158.3 QBR. I think a lot of teams would love for that guy to be their quarterback. But then you've got their loss to the New York Giants, where he misses so many deep balls, goes 1 touchdown, 1 interception. They kind of get smacked by the Giants. The other thing about Jalen Hurts is the games where the run game and defense is elite, Jalen Hurts literally doesn't throw the football. They don't even ask him to. They're just like, look, we've got Saquon Barkley and a great offensive line and a great run scheme. If you don't have to throw the ball, we're not going to let you. I think Jalen Hurts will continue to be the #1 hot take quarterback because it is so annoying to watch someone win the game without throwing. Like for the Eagles to rush for 280 yards with Saquon and Tank Bigsby, that pisses me off too. And then people call Jalen Hurts elite because of it. But then shit, sometimes he does step up. We have to talk about Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones wins MVP and Comeback Player of the Year. I highly doubt there has ever been a player in NFL history who has won both of those awards, so it would be really cool to see. And taking a look at the stat sheet, 2,062 yards, 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and the second best QBR in the National Football League and the best record in the National Football League. Incredibly though, what shocks me more than anything, if you take a look at the odds makers for regular season MVP, Patrick Mahomes is the front runner, followed up by Josh Allen, Drake May, Matthew Stafford, Baker Mayfield, and then finally, Daniel Jones. I'll be honest, I think the league has too strong of a bias against this Indianapolis Colts team and Daniel Jones for Daniel Jones to win MVP. I think he kind of deserves it. I think Daniel Jones very clearly should be neck and neck for MVP right now, if not second to Patrick Mahomes, fine. But how can Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs have a worse record? Patrick Mahomes can be worse statistically, and yet Patrick Mahomes is a 15x favorite over Daniel Jones. Here's Patrick Mahomes' stats so far this season. Here's Daniel Jones' stats so far this season. Patrick Mahomes has thrown 4 more touchdowns and 1 more interception. Daniel Jones has been slightly more efficient with the football, but the big kicker is the Colts have a better record. Now, what these odds are indicating that we're looking at here is saying, yes, Daniel Jones is playing very well, but the league and pretty much everybody seems to believe that the Indianapolis Colts are going to fall off, whereas the Kansas City Chiefs will continue to win more and more games. That's what the odds are telling us. But this might be my favorite hot take of the season. Despite watching the Indianapolis Colts play incredible football, people keep sleeping on them. It's like no one wants to believe it. I do believe that Daniel Jones could win MVP and Comeback Player of the Year. I want to see the Indianapolis Colts win the AFC. Oh, yeah, this is a hot take. The Tennessee Titans will get at least 6 wins this season. As it stands, the Tennessee Titans are 1-7. With 6 wins this season, they've got to win 5 games. The Chargers, the Texans, the Seahawks, the Jaguars, the Browns, the Niners, the Chiefs, the Saints, and then the Jaguars. I'm pretty sure they will be an underdog in literally all of these games. I think they have a 4-win ceiling in store for them. If the Cowboys get Max Crosby, they are going to be the NFC favorites. You know, earlier I said Giants fans are the most delusional, and I think I made a mistake. I think it's Cowboys fans. Anthony Richardson would be just as good, if not better, than Daniel Jones this season if he was starting. I can't tell if this is like Anthony Richardson glaze, or if he's calling Daniel Jones a system quarterback, or if he's just saying the Colts are so good anyone would succeed. I don't know what this is saying, but this is definitely a hot take. Anthony Richardson was the starter, and he did not do what Daniel Jones is doing. Will Levis would have more than 1 win as the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans this year. You know, I was going to hate on this take, and that's only because Cam Ward is such a talented quarterback, but Cam Ward has major sucked this year, and that's actually not the Titans' fault. Cam Ward has turned the ball over and fumbled more than any other quarterback in the National Football League. And I'm not talking like, you know, the Titans suck, so he had to fumble. Like, he just straight up fumbles a lot this year. Cam Ward is one of the worst statistical starting quarterbacks in the NFL this year, and yes, he's a rookie, but this is weird because of how good and how secure he was with the football in college. He wasn't a fumble-prone quarterback in college. This wasn't on his scouting report. 1,600 yards, 5 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a 25.7 QBR. I'm not going to judge the kid because he's a young rookie quarterback, but I almost agree. I do think that Will Levis might have more than 1 win right now as the starting quarterback. We've got a banger tweet here from Jerry Jones Ruined My Life, whose profile picture is, I think that's Jerry Jones shaking hands with Saddam Hussein. All right, maybe AI did bring some good stuff. Nobody actually hates Jalen Hurts. Everyone hates how Eagles fans try to force these ridiculous narratives about him, comparing him to people he simply isn't in the same planet as. I do think there's something to be said about this, especially in Philadelphia, where their fans are outrageously outspoken. This can be an amazing thing if you're a fan of the team. This can be bizarre for everyone else. But I think it's true that Jalen Hurts has won a Super Bowl, he's played excellent football, and he's a great starting quarterback. That shouldn't really be up for debate, but because Philadelphia fans are so delusional and hardcore Glazers, I think people start to dislike Jalen Hurts. It's just fatigue. We have Kansas City fatigue. All of us do. We have Mahomes fatigue, Kelsey fatigue, Taylor Swift fatigue. When the media shoves somebody down your throat, it is natural to push back. That sounded super sexual. I didn't mean it that way, but you can take it however you want, I guess. CJ Stroud has a major turnaround for the Texans and leads them to a 13-4 record, and we go deep into the playoffs. Well, I asked for hot takes, and I'm certainly getting them. Puka is the best wide receiver in the NFL. Also, no one is close to Mahomes at quarterback right now. I wouldn't really say this is a hot take. This is more of like the ultimate bandwagon take, because Puka may truly be the best wide receiver in the NFL, and Mahomes has kind of been the best quarterback in the league for a long time. If Mahomes has undoubtedly been top 3 since 2019. You can hate the guy all you want. He's been top 3 for 6 straight years. This is more of a casual take. Drake May wins a Super Bowl before Josh Allen. Oh my God, if you had said that to me last year, I would have laughed in your face. If you had said that to me 2 years ago, I would have laughed in your face. I don't even know if this is a hot take anymore. This is very possible. This is very possible. Sam Darnold is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. This was replied by somebody else's top 10, who has Baker at 1, Dak at 2, Justin Herbert at 3, Mahomes at 4, Josh Allen at 5, Drake May at 6, Lamar at 7, then Jordan Love, then Bryce Young, then Caleb Williams, then Jaden Daniels, then Michael Penn. This is rage bait. This is rage bait. This is rage bait. I'm not engaging with that tweet, bro. That's not even a hot take. That is straight up. Nope. Nope, I'm not doing it, man. You're not getting me with that. The Panthers will go on a run and overtake the Bucks to win the NFC South. This guy is a Yankees, Panthers, Knicks. How does this occur? How does this occur? The Seattle Seahawks are the most underrated NFL team currently and should be considered Super Bowl contenders. I don't think this is that hot of a take. I do think they're very, very good. I think the idea that Sam Darnold could just come to Seattle and win a Super Bowl is very difficult for people to wrap their heads around. I don't see it happening, but I don't think this is the hottest of takes. I think Seattle has a good offense and a great defense, and that is the formula for winning a Super Bowl. Broncos and Patriots will be the top 2 seeds and meet in the AFC Championship. My only issue with this take is the AFC is crazy strong. I think the AFC is much stronger than the NFC right now. The only 2 teams I really love in the NFC right now are the Philadelphia Eagles and the Detroit Lions. But in the AFC, you've got the Broncos, you've got the Patriots, you've got the Bills, you've got the Chiefs, and you've got the Colts. All 5 of those teams are very serious contenders to me. The AFC is just too good. The 49ers still win the NFC West. Brandon Ayuk is back alongside Ricky Pearsall and Brock Purdy next week. The secondary hot take is if the 49ers drafted Mac Jones over Trey Lance, we would have won a Super Bowl already. Mac Jones under Kyle Shanahan is averaging over 300 passing yards a game and has looked really good. Let's start with this first piece. 49ers still win the NFC West. That is a hot take, because the NFC West is pretty damn good. Now, the good news for the 49ers is they do have a 5-3 record right now, which is better than you'd expect, right? But the NFC West has Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams. Both very, very good teams, and Puka Nacua is coming back. I don't see the 49ers winning this division. As far as the secondary hot take, I definitely agree with this, and I don't think this is a hot take. I think many people know that the 49ers made a big mistake in trading 2 first-round picks to get Trey Lance, who they never used. So this isn't a hot take. If you spend 2 first-round picks trying to get this guy, and then all of a sudden your Mr. Irrelevant pick, Brock Purdy, ends up being your franchise quarterback, well, yeah, you goofed up. Mike White is the most underrated quarterback of the century. Jalen Hurts is Carson Wentz that won a Super Bowl. I think this is Jalen Hurts' hate, but Carson Wentz did win a Super Bowl. He just wasn't the starter because he got injured. And that season, Carson Wentz was incredible. I think the idea here is that Jalen Hurts is the system quarterback that Carson Wentz was, except Jalen Hurts got to win the Super Bowl. I just firmly disagree. I think Jalen Hurts is really good. I don't think he's as good as some people think he is, but I think he's really good. Oh, this is crazy. Ravens are making the playoffs and winning the division with the Steelers collapsing once again. Ravens are in a lot of trouble right now, but Lamar is coming back. It would be a monumental effort, but I definitely don't see the Steelers collapsing. I think the Steelers with Aaron Rodgers are too good to collapse right now. Excellent defense and a much better quarterback situation than they've had in the past. Jonathan Taylor will win MVP after the Colts show they can go toe-to-toe versus the Chiefs and win. Unfortunately, this might be the hottest take. A running back's not winning MVP in the NFL for 10 plus years. Guys, if Saquon didn't win it last year, then Jonathan Taylor can't win it this year. Saquon broke NFL history last year. Saquon was one of the best statistical running backs last year for the last 40 years, and he couldn't win MVP because this stupid award is only given to quarterbacks for the most part. What you need to be the NFL MVP is you need all quarterbacks in the league to not play that well. You need your team's quarterback to suck, and you need to be so beyond incredible. That is the only perfect storm where you can win MVP. The problem for Jonathan Taylor is Daniel Jones is going to win it before he does. Literally, Daniel Jones, if he plays even sort of well, is going to win it before Jonathan Taylor does, which is so dumb, in my opinion. I really think they should change this award. The Lions secondary would get cooked by USC's or OSU's wide receiver core in a 7-on-7 scrimmage. Shut up. The Lions secondary could probably... Oh my God, I don't even want to get into this, dude. Not only is he coming at my team, the Detroit Lions, but don't you understand that even the shittiest player in the National Football League was the best player at their Division I program? Also, if it's USC's wide receiver core in a 7-on-7 scrimmage, how many of USC's wide receivers are going to the National Football League? At maximum, the 7 best on USC right now, probably 3 go to the league. At maximum. 3 go to the league. The other 4 are guys that would never whiff the NFL field. And those other 4 guys have to go up against... Oh, I see people say this all the time, but there is almost no conceivable universe where any collegiate program could face any national football, even the shitty players on an NFL team, and do well. There's very few scenarios I can think of where it's even possible. It's a funny theory, though. It's funny, like, theory crafting. The winner of the Ravens-Dolphins game will make the playoffs. So wait a minute. I mean, wait a minute. So if the Dolphins beat the Ravens, you think the Dolphins make the playoffs? It's pretty difficult for both teams. Now, these are some hot takes. I like this guy. Lenoris Sellers season. Now you're talking, buddy. Packers are the most overrated team. Emeka Egbuka will become a top 5 wide receiver by the season's end. The Saints won't win another game this season. And Colts-Rams will be the Super Bowl matchup, with the Colts winning. Damn, I like this guy. All right, let's go from the top. This one's crazy because if the Dolphins somehow win this game, they can't make the playoffs, right? Packers are the most overrated team. Overrated is so hard because what does it mean? You know, being overrated is subjective. Some people could believe the Packers are overrated and some could believe they're underrated. I do think the Packers are very good. I would not call the Packers the most overrated team. Emeka Egbuka will become a top 5 wide receiver by the season's end. This is super likely. I don't think this is a hot take. Baker's playing great football. The Buccaneers are loving to pass right now, and Mike Evans is out for virtually the entire season. At least statistically, it's very likely that Emeka Egbuka will be a top 5 wide receiver by the season's end. Now, does that make him a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL? I don't think so. I think he needs more time. The Saints won't win another game this season is crazy hating. That is high-level hating. I think the Saints will get at least 1, maybe 2. Spencer Rattler has not been that bad. I've given him a lot of shit. He's not been that bad. Colts-Rams will be the Super Bowl matchup. I can't see it. I can see Colts, maybe, but the AFC is so tough, and I cannot see the Rams making it out of the NFC. There are a lot of NFC teams I see making it before the Rams make it, namely the Detroit Lions, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Green Bay Packers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know. Tampa Bay scared me a little bit. But even I've got the Seattle Seahawks over the Rams right now. This would be an incredibly interesting Super Bowl, though. The NFL will have a sports betting scandal in the near future. Yeah, Colby, this was hot takes, not completely fucking obvious, almost guaranteed things that are going to occur. Yeah, that's 100% gonna happen. Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen are washed. Bro, they're literally the 2 MVP frontrunners. So I don't know what to tell you. Also, Patrick Mahomes in that Commanders game looked so good. So good. Ooh, here's one. The Colts come away with at least 3 awards from the AP Awards. And here's his possibilities. Jonathan Taylor wins MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. Quentin Nelson wins Protector of the Year. Tyler Warren, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Shane Steichen, Coach of the Year. Daniel Jones, Comeback Player of the Year. Daniel Jones, Comeback Player of the Year, that feels like a lock. Tyler Warren, Offensive Rookie of the Year seems very difficult. You've got Jackson Dart and Emeka Egbuka to compete with. Shane Steichen, Coach of the Year, possible. Quentin Nelson, Protector of the Year. I don't know enough about this award or how they hand it out to give a comment on it. But Jonathan Taylor MVP is a pipe dream. That shit ain't happening. It's not gonna happen. Offensive Player of the Year, though, very possible. I think the most likely scenario for this to occur, Jonathan Taylor, Offensive Player of the Year. Daniel Jones, Comeback Player of the Year. And Shane Steichen gets Coach of the Year. I do think that's possible. Joe Burrow is just Kirk Cousins with better PR. Elite when everything is perfect, but trash when it isn't. I think this would imply that things have ever been perfect for Joe Burrow. My question to this hot take is, when has anything been perfect for Joe Burrow? When has Joe Burrow ever had a good offensive line? Even when they made the Super Bowl, you could argue that Bengals O-line kind of sucked. I mean, they played really well on that run, but I don't know if I agree here. I think this is probably my favorite one, so we're gonna end it with this. The Seahawks not running the ball is not the worst play call ever. It was 2nd down. They were probably expecting at worst an incompletion, and then they had 3rd and 4th down to run the ball if they had to. They just got real unlucky that it ended up in an interception. I think that this take separates certified ball knowers from casuals. I think certified ball knowers agree with this take, and I think casuals disagree. Hindsight is 20/20. And when Russell Wilson throws that football and Malcolm Butler makes an absolutely insane play and intercepts it, that was like the absolute worst case scenario that just isn't something you consider when you run a play. Another interesting thought experiment is, what if they did run the ball and then they got stuffed 3 times and the Patriots won? Wouldn't we all be sitting here saying, why didn't they try to throw? Why didn't they try to get creative? Another thought experiment would be, what if Marshawn Lynch fumbled the football and then they lost? Well, why didn't they try something else? It was only second down they could have thrown. It's one of the greatest, like, hindsight is 2020, but I also agree. I actually think it was a good play call. I just think the Patriots are one of the best. I just think the Patriots in that time frame are one of the best coached teams of all time. And they knew that play was coming, and they jumped that shit. I must say, though, this will not stop me from making fun of Seahawks fans about running the ball on the 1-yard line, and I'll still make that joke every time I get on the 1-yard line. I've really enjoyed your NFL hot takes. Thank you for sharing with me. I hope you're having an amazing day. You're so handsome, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.